In 2004, a mod release that would forever change the way we perceive sandbox games, a mod that has had a long, complex history over the past 20 years, with certain parts shrouded in mystery and others known by the masses. This mod would come to be known as the hot coffee mod for GTA San Andreas. GarrysMod. GarrysMod, which was created by Garry Newman, is a physics-based sandbox game where people on the spectrum fling ragdolls across the map. The objective of the game is, well, nowhere to be found. The idea of GarrysMod is that everything is added in by the player. Maps, weapons, NPCs, and props are all downloadable from the Steam Workshop, which is probably the most vital part of GarrysMod. But we'll get to that later. Over the years, GarrysMod has built a reasonably sizable fan base, with many infatuated with what it has to offer, myself being one of those people. Now, while I haven't been playing for the game's entire lifespan, I've enjoyed the game for many years. Now, with all that being said, let's get into the video. So, it's 2004, and a man by the name of Garry Newman decides to create a mod of the game Half-Life 2, a popular game created by Valve a month prior in November of 2004. Little did Garry know, however, this mod that he made as a small side project would become one of the biggest sandbox games of all time. However, before we go any further, I should mention that GarrysMod wasn't actually the first Half-Life 2 mod to release. You see, only a couple weeks earlier in December of 2004, a little mod released by the name of Gmod. Gmod actually turns out to be the predecessor to GarrysMod, only releasing a couple weeks, possibly days before GarrysMod. Now, it's pretty hard to get the exact date since this all happened nearly 20 years ago, but it can be concluded that Gmod did come out first and was actually what inspired Garry to create GarrysMod. Now, despite all of this sounding pretty fine and dandy, things weren't as pleasant online. The creators of Gmod have developed a reputation over the years of being complete douchebags. This is evident by the fact that the creators of Gmod were known for constantly spamming on forums about how Gmod was way better than GarrysMod, and posting images saying that if you played Gmod, you were a complete alpha male and got all the bitches, but if you played GarrysMod, you were a complete pussy who got no bitches. Now, come on, anyone that plays either game gets no bitches. I would know. Nevertheless though, the Gmod team's reputation as well as their jealousy of GarrysMod continued to worsen over the years, especially when GarrysMod was released as a full game. Speaking of its release, GarrysMod came out on the 29th of November 2006 and was met with immediate praise for its innovative style as well as making modding the main driving force behind the game. This led to GarrysMod selling 6,000 copies on its first day, which is no small feat for an indie game. GarrysMod quickly gained a cult following, and this following grew steadily over the years, with GarrysMod selling around a total of 315,000 copies by the end of 2008. Now, despite this being pretty decent growth, it wouldn't be until the 2010s rolled around that GarrysMod would finally cement itself as a popular indie sandbox experience. By mid-2011, GarrysMod had officially sold a total of 1 million copies, which for an indie game, hell, any game in general, is a pretty big deal. Now, while this growth was fairly impressive, it pales in comparison for what was to come. 2013 is considered by many to be the all-time peak of GarrysMod. This was due to the overabundance of add-ons posted to the Steam Workshop, as well as the consistently high player counts. All of this growth eventually led to GarrysMod selling a total of 3.5 million copies by July of 2013, meaning that GarrysMod had more than doubled its sales in only about 2 years. 2013 was also the year where GarrysMod became more mainstream on YouTube and the media in general. Before, it was this semi-obscure game that only a handful of people had insight on, but now there were channels like Venturian Tale and Vanos Gaming who were gaining mass popularity at the time for playing GarrysMod. 2014 was also a big year for the game, as another game released that would forever become tied to GarrysMod, the game in question being Five Nights at Freddy's. GarrysMod saw a new generation of kids playing the game due to the combination of Five Nights at Freddy's and GarrysMod, especially with the YouTube videos that accompanied it. Seriously, the videos posted during this time saw view counts you couldn't even fathom. Some 10-year-old kid with a lisp could toss around a Freddy Fazbear ragdoll with a fizz gun and get 25 million views. Oh wait, that actually happened. As I said before, a brand new audience was introduced to GarrysMod due to its new connection with Five Nights at Freddy's. I myself was a part of this new audience. Like many other young kids in late 2014 to early 2015, I found Five Nights at Freddy's and immediately gained interest in it, mainly from the YouTube videos about it. Seriously, why was a game about child murder such a hit with the youth? It really was the brain rot of the mid-2010s. Anyways, this was when I discovered GarrysMod. However, I wasn't able to play due to my ancient King Tut ass laptop. This fat brick cannot run GarrysMod, or Google Chrome for that matter. My internet was also on par with McDonald's at the time, so suffice to say, nothing was really working in my favor. This meant that my journey of playing Garry's Mod ended before it even started, and it wouldn't be for another 3 years until I was actually able to get my grubby little mitts on a copy of the game. But it didn't really matter if I myself wasn't able to play it at the time, as the game grew rapidly from this point. By January 2016, the game had reached 10 million copies sold. The game had also reached its all-time high player count of 75,000 a year prior in January 2015. Now, before we move forward, I should mention one of the main factors behind Garry's Mod, the maps. While fairly simple in the early years, Garry's Mod maps came into their own around the early 2010s. This was the time when some of Garry's Mod's most popular maps were uploaded. For example, GM Big City, GM Fork, TTT Minecraft, Destructible House, GM 7-Eleven, Five Nights at Freddy's, GM Boreas, GM McDonald's, Grove Street.
You picked the wrong house, fool!
Now, of course, that doesn't mean that all the maps are good, but many were pretty creative. I mean, what game allows you to go to IKEA? That's what I thought. The maps also improved as time went on. Seriously, the fact that some of these are able to run on Garry's Mod, a game released in 2006, is mind-blowing to me, especially when they look like this. Many of the maps are also filled to the brim with small details, Easter eggs, hidden rooms, etc. Hell, even the maps that come with the game have Easter eggs and extra little details. There's basically a Garry's Mod map for anything you can think of. Hell, even I live in a Garry's Mod map. Hey, what are you doing in my house? Well, shit. Now, in terms of Gmod history, not much happened in 2016 or even 2017 for that matter. Since FNAF was on the decline and the game was pushing 11 years of age, it just wasn't seeing the same rapidly growing audience it was 3 years prior. When 2018 rolled around, it was a similar story. However, it was different for me as I was finally able to get myself a copy of Garry's Mod. You see, I was actually able to get a computer that could handle a PowerPoint presentation, so I was in the clear to play Garry's Mod. Even though I was a half-decade late to the hype, it didn't matter, as I enjoyed every second I played the game. I even made a couple crappy videos playing it. Now, while I played the hell out of the sandbox game mode, I never really touched the Dark RP and TTT game modes. If you didn't know, a Garry's Mod roleplay server is a server that typically involves a standard theme such as cops, tornadoes, Star Wars, My Little Pony. God, I'm so happy these servers died. Anyways, these servers would follow a theme like those previously mentioned, and that's it. Just add in a map ripped from the Steam Workshop, countless gigabytes of malware and disgusting models, and finally sprinkle in some of the biggest degenerates on Earth, and you've created yourself a Garry's Mod RP server. And what's even worse is that Garry's Mod servers nowadays are filled to the brim with microtransactions. Seriously, these are EA levels of greediness. Basically, these degenerates will charge people the rent of a Las Vegas penthouse for some random model ripped for free off the Steam Workshop. These servers are also known for having the most power-hungry admins ever. These people are on a constant power trip and yearn to ban someone from the server for any reason just to make themselves feel superior. You know, for an RP server, you think you could act out whatever you want, but no, you have to constantly align to whatever the moderator/admin wants, everything has to go their way, and if it doesn't, you get banned. If you talk back to them, banned. If you move a prop an inch to the left with your fizz gun, the admins will be on your ass within seconds. I remember during the pandemic, I was playing some Tornado RP server. Yes, I know a sin to answer for, but hear me out. I was bored. After messing around on the 10-year-old map and not having anything to do, I just started flinging vans into random directions. Eventually, I just started shoving a van into what I thought was a vacant home, but apparently it had some residents. And since the van was about 30 years old, it blew up and killed everyone inside. After that, the owner of the home reported me to the admins, and you know what happened? Actually, I want you to guess what happened. A, the admins came to me respectfully and asked me to stop prop pushing. B, I was dragged into an admin sit and immediately banned for 45 years. And C, there's no point because you already know it's fucking B. You know, as a matter of fact, I'm gonna go into an RP server and see how long it takes me to get banned. Well, we got our prop right here. Let's go ahead and put in the street. Look at all the cop cars over there, holy shit. Oh man, what the fuck is that? Alright, I think this is the next place we'll do spawn the props in. One here. Alright. Oh my god, dude. No!
Hi, could you delete this prop that you've got here? Place the prop in the middle of the road, it's invisible.
What prop?
Right here.
I don't see anything right here.
Spam Z on your, just spam,
Yeah.
just spam Z. Spam Z on your keyboard, please.
Yeah, I just did, I don't see anything. Alright, well since I've done all I can do, I think, oh. Alright.
It's still there.
I don't see any, I don't know what you're looking at. I don't see anything there. Can I go now? I think I've done all I needed to do.
Hey, there's a prop right here. Can you get rid
I
of
don't. You're going on about this prop, and I don't even see anything.
Hit Z. Z.
I promise I hit Z.
Not D, a Z, Z.
Okay,
Z.
I hit Z, alright? You know, I really want to go back to role-playing on my favorite server, but I can't because I'm trapped in the fucking sky.
Well, maybe you can undo it, and then I can let you go, but...
What do you want me to undo? There's nothing to undo. You know, we're kind of just going back and forth, I feel like.
Just don't do that again. If I see a report on you, you'll most likely get jailed and warned for this. Please don't do that.
Alright, you know, after I had that stern talking to, I think I'm going to do it again. Just go ahead and put a couple down. Right there. Perfect. Alright. Snug right there. Uh-oh. I think he knows. God damn it. I really don't understand putting an innocent man in jail. The other game mode is Trouble in Terrorist Town, or TTT. Basically, it's a multiplayer game mode that's in a Counter-Strike-esque universe where a group of terrorists are out to kill all of the traitors among them. It's a pretty entertaining game mode, is what I would be saying if I actually played it. Yeah, I never really got into this game mode. It just seemed mediocre to me, and the sandbox game mode was already more than enough for me and my innovative imagination. Speaking of autism, the Steam Workshop. Harking back to what I said earlier, the Steam Workshop is an integral part of GarrysMod. The workshop acts as the spine to Gmod's otherwise limp body. And since the Steam Workshop is home to nearly 2 million add-ons, it's bound to have many bad eggs lying around. Some of the more infamous add-ons are the Glue Library and the Ambient Occlusion add-on. Basically, the only reasons these add-ons are so infamous is because of the viruses they put on your computer, as well as the images that they display. Now, I could go further into it, but yeah, anyways. As 2020 progressed, I began to play GarrysMod RP less and less. Not only was it starting to die out again due to the end of the pandemic, but also it was already dead to begin with since the game was already 16 years old. But I did still play the main game mode and would just occasionally mess around or explore the maps. And honestly, that's how it is in the present day. I rarely get on Gmod nowadays, and when I do, it's when I'm bored or I see a workshop add-on that catches my eye. Man, I really got a lot going, huh? Overall though, this seems to be the general consensus by many, because not to beat around the bush, GarrysMod is turning 20 this year. The game's just not as popular as it used to be, and the fact that it's taken 2 decades to get to that point is pretty damn impressive. Obviously, GarrysMod was never going to stay in the limelight, as is for any other game. But the fact that it's gone on for this long and still has thousands of players is crazy. Most of the thanks can probably be owed to the Steam Workshop, as without it, GarrysMod is pretty barren. The Steam Workshop has allowed an endless stream of content to flow into GarrysMod, keeping it fresh and fairly relevant even after 20 years. There's always going to be a new generation of kids to put complete brain rot up on the Steam Workshop, and honestly, isn't that what this is all about? In the end though, GarrysMod has built a decently sized fanbase over the years. It's sold 20 million copies, and it has nearly 2 million workshop add-ons. And for all its faults, it's done more than enough to make up for it. Except for the RP servers, those things can fucking rot in hell.